Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about from Season 4, Episode 9. One episode to go. This episode had a lot of reveals. Reveals to us of the audience and reveals to that of the characters so they can get caught up with some of the things some of the people have been doing. This episode was mostly like a setup for the season finale. I am very curious to know what the big, shocking cliffhanger of season 4 finale is going to be. Every season has a big, shocking, cliffhanger type thing. So I'm very curious to know what this one's going to be like. So, for the most part, some things that were told to us, the audience, are things we already knew or kind of could figure out. Fatima technically should be dead because she has no vitals. I was right about like the whole Henry thing and like how Victor is his anchor and that he will have to kill him but did not do it yet. And so other reveals came with Sophie and Clara. And not only that, but some more inside knowledge, a teeny tiny bit about the talismans and how there are actually two people on the talismans, like little stick figure drawings, which I never knew because how often do they really give us a close up of the talismans and stuff, you know? But now something Tabitha told Boyd about the talisman and the two people in it and how she thinks that it should only be two people down in the tunnels and it should be her and Jade, the man in the yellow jacket or suit, what you want to call it. When he finds out it's going to be those two and those two only, he is pissed because originally he assumed it was going to be a group of people. So, something big is going to happen next week. But the biggest shocker of them all is that of Clara and stuff, which, not gonna lie, blew my mind only because I keep forgetting she's in the show because she never really does anything because she's mostly just a recurring character. Not so much a background character, but a recurring character who really is just kinda there. Kind of like the lady whose face got burnt, halfway burnt off and stuff. She's just like there. So I never really suspected her of anything. However, this whole season, something's been lingering in the back of my mind. Could there be a mole this season or in the series in general? Because I keep thinking about how Randall has barely done anything and has missed about 2 or 3 episodes. And when I think of Randall, I automatically think of how him and Donna kept squaring off and did not like each other and how he accused her of being a mole. So that always pops in my head whenever like he's been missing this season. Not necessarily that he is a mole, but somebody else could be and everything. And so, like, to find out that there is indeed a mole, and it's somebody that completely was off my radar, just like blew my mind and everything, and how selfish this person is. There's also an interesting thing that happened with Fatima. Now, because of this episode, I noticed something. There's a lot of people missing in this episode. And I mean, a good chunk of the cast is missing from this episode. And then they finally do appear at the end to really just mess around with the rope and say one thing. Officer Danny, Ellis and everything. I was surprised when I saw Ellis. I'm like, where the heck is this dude? Like his wife is transforming into something or something's going on with her. And this dude is like nowhere to be found. And then he finally pops up and everything. Bus driver lady and stuff. I mean, It's just kind of like, where the heck is everybody? And Sarah popped up randomly and everything. Ellis, not Ellis, Elias did. I'm just like, whatever Christy's girlfriend name is, barely did anything in this episode, like always. Ethan barely did anything. Henry barely did anything. I'm just like, where the heck is everybody? But the man in the yellow suit, he had to do his transformation thing and he was in it for a little bit. So, of course, boom, budget had to go into that. And so, whenever he appears on the show and whenever they have a transformation sequence, people tend to be absent from the show and everything, I've noticed. So for the most part, it's not that huge of a recap with like everybody, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like minor stuff. Like, Chrissy, um, she informs Boyd of Fatima technically just being a dead person walking around and everything. And it's funny how they did that because she's all like, hey, I need to talk to you. So they go off, and as they're walking off, we can still hear her talk to him, right? Then all of a sudden, when she actually tells what the information is, they mute it so we can't hear. And all you see is Boyd's reaction, him flaring up and everything. But then in the next scene that they're in, it's basically revealed that, hey, she is a dead woman walking, and that should not be like right. And, um, whatchamacallem. So it's like that's basically all she did. Sarah, she comes in when Boyd is pissed off at God and fussing him out, talking about, I don't like you, you did all this stuff here and blah, 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 blah. So she pops into the church and him and her, they have a little discussion and stuff. And, he's going to need her help when it comes down to like, people in the tunnel because somebody could be hurt. So, help out that way. Also, he wants like, Chrissy and stuff like that. Elgin, my God, poor Elgin. Oh, first the eye, then the hand, and what's gonna happen to him next episode? Is he gonna appear dead, or are we gonna see him getting like ripped to shreds? Like, what the heck is gonna happen? So in the beginning, we see him taking the rope off the flat because Boyd needs rope for like the tree and stuff like that. But then he's in the diner and he's just looking through photos randomly and everything. And he sees a picture of Sophia from back in, I'm assuming, the 1970s or 60s or something. And she was here in this, like, in the township. So Sophia just happens to be in the diner with like Clara and everything, and Sophia's already pissed because she found out that only Jade and Tabitha are going down in the tunnels, and Elgin, as dumb as he is gonna question her about that instead of going to like Boyd or something like that and be all like, hey, Sophia, look at this picture. It's from like long time ago in this like town, and there you are. What are you doing in this picture? Fool. You stupid idiot. And he's all like, oh, that is me and everything. He's like, Elgin, I wish you never saw that photograph. And then walks towards him, grabs his hand, and we don't know what the heck happened to him. Oh, either he is gonna die in the next episode, either off screen, on screen, or he's gonna be begging for his life, or maybe Clara might beg for his life, or maybe he might turn sides. Who knows? So Henry, so yeah, I was right about the whole Victor being like the anchor and everything, and he had a hallucination, and he said, he tells hallucinated like Victor, you're my anchor and everything. You're what keeping me here. I love you so much, but I don't think I can kill you and blah blah blah. So something's gonna happen next week. Either he's gonna kill his son, he's gonna kill himself, or he's gonna have the strength to fight all this. Victor, on the other hand, went to go to his mother and sister's grave, and it's all like, if Tabitha's technically you, then you're not with Eloise in heaven and everything. And then the boy in white showed up, and Victor's a little pissed, talking about this is a private moment. I'm talking to my like dead mother and everything, and they talk about like the plan. And so the boy in white is like, yo, y'all cannot mess with the bottle tree. I told you, like that bottle tree has to stay there. If you remove that, something really bad is gonna happen and you need to stop them. So Victor goes to Boyd and tells him, like, look, the boy in white showed up, said, do not mess with the bottle tree, this and that. Boy, for whatever reason, is just like, screw you, screw this imaginary boy in white that nobody else can see but you and Ethan, because y'all are so-called special and everything, and we're digging that tree up. And Victor's like, I'm going to stop you, and he walks out. So I'm all like, how is he going to stop him? This was a dramatic scene, man. Like, I knew it. I knew Boy was going to whip out the handcuffs, handcuff Victor. He was going to have a nervous breakdown, which he did. And it was just so heartbreaking to see. And then Kenny had to walk him to a jail cell. And there we see Victor with his head down in a jail cell. Now, this is why I don't understand and it really pisses me off about Boyd. Boyd knows that this place is crazy. Boyd knows this place can mess with your mind. Boyd knows from experience that if somebody says, hey, something is happening or something is happening to me, he needs to believe them because in the past he never did. And so with this plan in motion that they're gonna go down the tunnels and dig up the bones and then dig up this tree and everything, you would think, since he tends to believe what Victor says about the man in the yellow and everything, you'd think he would believe the boy in white. I mean, who cares if Boyd never saw the boy in white? He's never saw the man in yellow either, you know what I'm saying? So with all this crap going on and him now finally believing Jade, who had a mushroom trip and wanted to dig up bones, and Father Kadri's all you gotta put some trust in some people. Why the heck did he not trust in Victor? He's so adamant about getting out and thinking this is the way that he's gonna let nothing stop him. And that just really frustrates me that he didn't even consider listening and stuff. Tabitha tells Boy about the man in yellow and everything and how he was in her house and messing around with stuff and all this other crap. And so, she tells him that the man in yellow confirmed that he killed Jim and everything. And so, when it comes to her, Julie is still giving her, crap. Julie thinks this is all stupid. She thinks digging up some bones is stupid. She thinks her mom, so-called being reincarnated, is just a big hallucination and that they're believing what they want to believe and everything. And when she finds out that the man in yellow killed her father because Tabitha and Jade found out too much information, she is not happy about that. And she's all like, oh, so since you're about to dig up some bones, who's going to be next? Is the man in yellow going to kill me or Ethan or who? You know what I'm saying? And so she tells her mother finally that, I thought I traveled through time and everything. But no, I didn't travel through time. I was just having seizures. But she did travel through time. It is disappointing to know that she has given up on this time travel storyline so far, because that was really the only interesting thing with her character this season, other than her reverting back to being a pissed off teenager and stuff. As for Ethan, he no longer believes that that was his father he saw that wanted him to find the Lake of Tears. Because when they went out to that woods and the cabin and stuff, the dolls attacked. So he's now not believing that because he's listening to Julie and stuff like that. And that's basically what happened with Tabitha until Julie tells her, like, did you create these talismans too, Mom? Since you think you did all this and you did all that. And this is what causes Tabitha to stop and actually think and actually look at the talismans. She tells Boyd and everything, like, a group of people shouldn't go down there. It should just be me and Jade because of the whole reincarnation thing. And look, there are actually two people on the talismans. This has to mean something. So with the plan in motion, Kenny was explaining most of the plan to Donna because Donna doesn't really get much to do. And so Kenny basically tells her, look, this is how we're not going to get trapped. We're going to go down there, and when we're in our room, we're going to put up a tarp, and then we're going to put up the talisman. That technically should keep out, like, the monster people and stuff. Which, that does sound pretty sound, because all you really need is a structure, a door-like projectile, and, like, a talisman and something like that. So it technically should work, and the door has to be closed, of course. So it should work, and we kind of saw it work, but we don't really know if it worked, but So Jay goes into the office of Boyd and tells him, look, man, I'm going down in that tunnel. I can sacrifice myself, and that will be that. But then, like, eventually it was going to just be him and Tabitha. And, this dude has changed a lot from how that man was in season 1. My God. But him and Tabitha, they go down there and they start digging up, like, the bones. And they find the bones. They're actually there. They put up the talisman in the tarp. And we see the monster people. I'm like, ooh, you shouldn't have come down here. But then they stop once they get to the tarp. Then it ends. So it's like, is it gonna work? Is it not? Won't find out until next episode. But now here comes the big shocking part. Oh, wait, let me get into Fatima. So Fatima's not really seeing this episode until her stomach and everything else starts turning, and she's up, like, everything's like really upset with her, like, body and everything, right? So Clara put some of her blood in Fatima's, like, drink. And the thing about Clara's blood is that it's now been mixed in with the man in yellow. And so the man in yellow made her do that. And so, like, and she's very adamant, oh, it's a home remedy because you've been feeling sick, and, it's just some berries and some herbs and blah, 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 blah. But don't tell her there's no blood. And then Fatima wasn't going to drink it at first. She's like, you really should drink it when it's warm and everything. So she drinks it. And later on that night, I don't know what the heck happened to Fatima, but she was in pain, twisting and turning. And my thoughts and theories on this is one or two things is going to happen. Oh no, one of three things is going to happen. Either the blood is somehow going to kill Fatima, or she's going to turn into one of the monster people, or it's going to sever the connection between her and Smiley and everything. Only time will tell. Now to the big shocking part that blew my mind. So after the man in yellow spoke to that of, like, Tabitha, he went back in the woods and started transforming. I am sick and tired of seeing an old naked man. Every time he transforms into that woman, it pans away. I'm sorry, but if you're gonna show a naked man, show the naked woman too. I'm tired of seeing naked men in modern television. I'm sick to death of it. Anyway, so she heads into town and sees Elgin and Clara. and asks to help, like, Claire when she goes to, I guess, the storage unit or something. But then it's all like, oh, do you remember me? And takes off the glasses and the eyes turn black. Clara is terrified and realizes who it is. I'm all like, what the heck is going on? Like, at first I thought when the whole look into my eyes, I thought she was going to get brainwashed and everything. But no. Clara knows who the man in yellow is. Because Sophie said, hey, remember that bargain we made? Well, I need a favor and everything. So she's been a mole since the first day she arrived into town. I'm hoping they show a flashback. I just don't want to be told. I want to see what actually happened. And so I couldn't believe this. And I'm thinking to myself, her of all people is the mole, but she's barely in the show. Now, here's my problem with her being the mole. Because she's barely in the show, it's not that, okay, it is a big reveal and it is shocking, but it would have hit harder if it was somebody else on the show, like Donna. Think about it. Every time somebody wants to do something that might get them out of that place, Donna's always like, no, you can't do this and you can't do that, and what if this happens, and blah 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 blah. So, or it could have been Randall. Randall's been missing a lot this season, and like Randall's the one who brought up the whole theory of like a mole and stuff. And so like it could have been him. So I wanted to be somebody more important other than a recurring character who I forgot about. The only thing about her I remember is that Jade stole her bike in season 1. And that's literally it. But then I looked online because I couldn't remember her name. And so apparently fans have been theorizing about her since season 2. And everything. And I'm just kind of like, how did I miss all this crap? Like, I don't get it. But then when I went to Wiki Fandom and I started reading stuff up about her, I'm like, okay, something's making sense now. Like when Fatima had morning sickness because she was pregnant with Smiley, and somebody got mad because she was hogging the bathroom, and she's all like, leave Fatima alone. Then when this one dude died, she put like a flower on near him or something like that. So it's kind of like every time something weird would happen, she would kind of be there and, do something. And she got mad at Tabitha for making it back to the real world and not telling people and stuff. So there were kind of clues there, but nothing so big that made my spider senses like tingle and everything. And so it turns out that the bargain they made is that at some point in time, because we don't know the full bargain. So we don't know if she's been spying this whole time and just relaying things back to him. But we know they made a deal. The deal is at some point in time, he is going to need a favor. And when that favor comes, she can go home. And only her. She only cares about herself and nobody else. And she gets even more selfish when she tells the man in yellow that only Tabitha and Jade are going to go down in the tunnels. And when the man in yellow is pissed, like, you should have told me this sooner. It's all like, I'm sorry and everything. But can I still go home? And I'm just like, what the? And so, when they talk in the house, the man in yellow has to make sure Sarah's not there. Once again, what is this dude's power? It's like, I don't get it. Like, he has to make sure nobody's in the room before he goes and do anything. But shouldn't he be able to sense it? He's able to sense other crap, but whatever. So he takes a knife. I'm like, wait a minute. When he talked to Tabitha, he was more grayish and his fingers were turning black. So I'm thinking to myself, the last time I saw him look like that is when he was eating Victor's mother. So he must need blood or something. So he's probably just going to drink from her like a vampire or something. because I doubt he's probably gonna kill her. Because remember, he needs that favor. So then he cuts his hand and he cuts her hand, and they bond hands, and of course their blood is bonding with one another. Then I'm thinking to myself, what if the man in the yellow suit body is so old that he needs another host? And everything. So what if he transfers his consciousness into her? So I'm thinking maybe that would happen, right? But no. What actually happens is that his blood mixed with her blood, and she poisoned that of Fatima with the blood and everything. And we need flashbacks. We need flashbacks. We need flashbacks. We need flashbacks in the next episode between these two. Cause we gotta see just how far this like alliance between those two has been going on. Like has Clara. Ooh, excuse me, I'm tired. And she been like relaying like messages back and forth, like going into the woods, finding the man in yellow, and telling them how what exactly has been going on, or maybe she's just been like doing her own thing, and then all of a sudden, the man in yellow gonna need that favor and stuff. And I'm actually shocked and surprised that like the man in yellow would know he would need a favor. So this now makes me think, with each generation that's been there, he must pick like a mole or something. This would probably explain why Jade is always dying. Once he's always trying to rescue the kids and the town people get pissed and stuff. So that could be like a thing to where like the mole is actually the one starting the riot and everything. Or the lynching or whatever it is they do to him and stuff. But like she seemed kind of scared when the man in yellow found out, like Elgin found out about the whole Sophia thing. And so, because the man in yellow tells, Elgin, like, I can only take the appearance of somebody who has died. So that now makes me once again think. What's his name? Victor said the man in yellow came in just like everybody else, drove a car and stuff like that. What if that old body is just like a person who died there many decades ago, and he took the appearance of that person? Or maybe that's just his form, you know what I'm saying? Because why would he keep going back to that appearance and nothing else, Not to mention, it was something interesting that the man in yellow told Clara. That this, because Clara's all like, do you want me to stop them from digging up the bones? And he's all like, nah, they're on the right track and everything. So digging up the bones must be a way to, get out of there. But he tells her that this place is built on ritual and everything. It's not how you do it, but no, it's not what you do, but like how you do it and stuff. And we've seen the man in yellow say incantations and use spells and this and that. So, and the fact that like two people had to go down the tunnels, and it just happens to be the two people he doesn't want, and the talismans have like two people on it, makes you wonder what supernatural force this could be. So the whole alien theory's been debunked and everything, but like there's something supernatural going on. Is it witch doctory type stuff? Is this like some type of like Native American burial ground or something like that? Like, what is it, Now, when it comes to the man in yellow jacket, one thing that they did was they are starting to slip. At some point in time, they're going to get found out because of the simple fact the yellow jacket is missing, and Boyd knows he put it in the room in the drawer, and somebody went in there and ravaged the office and took it. So boy knows that, now that, the jacket's missing and the man went inside Tabitha's house. So he is among them. Also, he needed like a distraction to cut like the rope. And so like he made the music box turn on just by touching it, the little jukebox thing. Which the bus drivers all like, how did you do that? And everything. Or no, how did the jukebox turn on? Because it turns on by itself. You can't just press like a button and it turns on. But she literally just tapped it and it came on. And so at some point in time, I bet you anything, there's going to be a town meeting. Boyd is going to talk about how the man in yellow jacket is among them. The jacket is missing. Have y'all seen anything strange happen? And I bet you anything, that bus driver is going to be all like, oh, I saw Sophia just touch the jukebox and it automatically just came on and everything. So, like, I can just feel it now. The next episode is gonna be good. I can feel it. But it does make me wonder what all is gonna happen, Because this show makes you think something's gonna happen next episode, but it can be a completely different way of how it turns out. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.